Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me for the 12 Days of Pilates Challenge. I am very excited for this series. I've been posting a lot about it. I've had this idea for over a year and I can't believe it's finally time. So this is day one. We're going to be working a lot on hip mobility and legs. So let's go ahead and get into it. These are going to be beginner friendly. There's a few that's going to, I think, have some props, but it's always optional, so don't freak out about that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to lie on our back here with our feet on the mat. I want you to bring your feet and your knees together and go ahead and place your hands on your pelvis just for some tactile feedback. We're going to start with the bent knee opening. So you're just going to take this right knee here and you're slowly going to drop it to the side, letting your foot roll onto its side, and then go ahead and inhale back up. We're just going to stay on the right side here. We're just starting to warm up that hip socket, that femur bone moving in the hip socket. We're also starting to sync our breath with the movement. You can exhale to lower, inhale to lift. You can try switching it and see if one is easier. As long as you're breathing, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You'll notice that the rest of our body is nice and quiet. Our shoulders are relaxed. Our left leg is nice and quiet. It's just that femur bone. Go ahead and switch to the other side. You might notice that one side has a greater range of motion than the other side. Our bodies, believe it or not, are not symmetrical. One side is usually a bit stickier or more awkward than the other. You can close your eyes, again, just really focusing on syncing the breath. Noticing how it feels to wake up that pelvic area. You might have a pop like me, especially with some of the other stuff that we're doing in the hips. You're likely to have some pops and whatnot. As long as there's no pain, you're fine. So don't freak out about any sounds you hear. Just never work through pain. We want to be respectful to our bodies. All right, let's go ahead and alternate. You'll notice that your range of motion might be increasing as you start to wake that area up. One more each side. Let's go ahead and drop both at the same time and bring them back up. Realized I forgot to shut my dryer off. So it's a setting on my son's, he has a sound machine, a washer and dryer setting, so maybe it will be soothing to you. All right, let's hold it open. Let's just do little teeny tiny pulses here. Keeping our breath steady, keeping those shoulders relaxed. When you're ready, go ahead and place your arms down at your side. We're going to bring our feet into tabletop so you can see the tips of your toes. And we're just going to start by lowering that right leg down and bringing it back up. And if you need, you can keep that left foot on the floor so you can keep both legs touching the floor, and you can do modified femur arc if this is more comfortable for you. Our back should stay on the mat. So if you notice your lower back coming up or any other part of your back trying to move off of the mat, go ahead and place that opposite foot down. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Again, syncing our breath. Breath really helps facilitate the movement. We don't want to hold our breath. That makes movements much more challenging. All right, let's go ahead and alternate. One more each side. All right, go ahead and place both feet on the ground. You can have your arms out to the side for some nice support. Go ahead and raise that right leg or foot towards the ceiling. If you have a little bend, that is totally fine. We're going to draw some leg circles. So we're going to take it as wide as possible so that the back of your thigh is almost grazing the mat. And bring it back up and around. You just want to draw a nice big circle, like our femur is a paintbrush. And go ahead and reverse. Our shoulders are relaxed. We're continuing to breathe. Let's do one more. Let's hold it at the top. Let's do little circles, 10 each way. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do the other leg straight up towards the ceiling. Remember, the back of our thigh almost grazes the mat. Our shoulder blades are nice and heavy and connected to the mat. We are still breathing. We're nice and slow and controlled. Sometimes when we try and do this movement fast, we're using the momentum to complete the movement rather than the strength of our legs. Really warming up the hips and the thighs. Go ahead and reverse the circle. Last one. Hold it. We'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go ahead. Come on to our side. For our side lying series, we're gonna have our legs bent here. And we're going to raise this leg. We're going to extend it. We're going to tap it down to the ground. Bring it up, bend the knee, bring that foot back to tap that toe onto the ground. Bring it back up, extend, and tap. Raise, bend. We rotate that femur there for some nice added hip rotation, and tap. Up, bend, rotate, and tap. And we want to make sure that our spine is nice and quiet. We're not hinging anywhere. We're getting nice internal and external rotations in that hip socket. And do one more. All right, now I have to remember my choreography here. So we're gonna lift, we're gonna bring this leg forward. Again, we're not moving that lower back. We're gonna come back, we're gonna rotate, place that leg on the ground. It's all right if your pelvis is back a little bit, as long as that lumbar back is not hinging. And we're gonna raise that bottom leg. So we're coming up, going back, rotate, down, and lift. Again, we're just really trying to get as much rotation at the hips as possible. And do one more of these. Rotate, come up, come back, rotate, and lift. All right, great job. We're going to come into a quadruped position. So we want our hands to be underneath our shoulders. We want our elbows to be underneath our hips. We want to really focus on keeping a neutral spine. So we don't want to hinge, we don't want to flex. We want to keep nice alignment. We want to keep that neck nice and long. And we're just going to start by bringing this left leg and left feet together for some clams. So we're going to keep our feet touching each other, and we're going to open that knee out. Just going to close and open like a clam. Just moving that knee. If you've done my other videos, clams are a staple in many different orientations. We're making sure we're staying nice and lifted, not letting our shoulders droop, keeping that gaze at the mat. Let's do two more. Last one. And we're going to do some femur circles here. We're just going to draw some circles again with that femur, similar to how we just did, around, up, and around, up, round. Really anchoring into that supporting foot for balance. This is great for hips, and it's great for balance work. All right, let's go ahead and switch. Remembering to breathe. One more. Now let's hold it here at the top. Gonna flex through that heel. I'm just gonna do tiny little pulses. So again, that lower back is not hinging. So this movement is very, very small, and the stretch is happening at the hips. You're probably gonna feel it in the glutes. But that back is staying in a nice neutral position. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go ahead and go to the other side. So we're doing that clam, so we're keeping our feet together, we're just opening that right knee out and bringing it back, out and back. Connecting our breath, keeping those shoulders lifted. Two more. Last one. Let's go ahead and do our circles. We're going to go up and around. Checking in on that lower back, that it's staying nice and quiet. Let's go ahead and reverse. Last one. Let's hold here at the top. Flex through that heel, really pushing through that heel so we feel it in our calves. Tiny little pulses. Feeling the movement happening at that hip. Three, two, one. All right, let's take a little break from the hips. We're going to extend our arms straight ahead, palms facing in, wiggle those fingers, and then straight out, palms facing forward. And then we're going to take our gaze with us as we twist up, looking at our thumb. Let's bring it back over and out and up. One more time. Over and out and up. Let's do the other side. Over and out and up. Over and out. Up. Last one. Over, out, and up. All right, how are we doing? All right, we're going to take this left leg back. We're going to raise it. Again, we want to make sure that that lower back is in a neutral position. We're just going to flex through that heel. We're going to bring the heel towards our butt. We're going to do a tiny little lift like that pulse. Then we're going to bring it back out, pointing. So we point, flex, bend, and lift. Point, flex, bend, and lift. Checking in on those shoulders. Let's do two more. Last one. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. We raise up, staying in neutral. We flex, we bend, we raise, point, flex, bend, and raise. Point, flex, bend, and raise. Two more. All right, we're gonna come down onto our right forearm. We're gonna extend the left leg out. We're gonna raise it again. We have this nice little external rotation, so your foot is facing the same way as your gaze. We're gonna tap it out to the side, really trying to keep that back in neutral. Come up and tap behind. Up, tap in front. So we're making a triangle. Ah, here he is. Three more. Last one. All right, let's go ahead and switch to the other side. Hello, cat. So we raise that leg. Our foot is facing the same way as our gaze, and we tap out, come up, and tap behind. Keeping all of our body quiet, except that leg that's moving. Remembering to breathe. Okay. Three more. Last one. All right, let's go ahead and sit back in a nice little child's pose. We're going to come onto our other side and do our side lying series from this side. So go ahead and have this nice little bend here. Just going to raise that leg, going to extend it, tap it down, come up, bend, rotate, and tap behind that other leg. Two more. I even moved his food, but I must have missed a couple pieces. Last one. All right. Give myself a little pat. My glutes are feeling it. All right, and then we're gonna lift up. We're gonna bring that knee towards our chest without moving that back. I'm gonna bring it back, rotate, set that foot down, and lift that bottom leg. Rotate and lift. Really using this hand on the mat to support us, that in the core during that lift. Two more. Yes, cat. Last one. All right. Oh, cat, he loves to drink the sap water. He doesn't really mess with the tree, but gets sap all over himself. All right, I am going to adjust my mat for a second. We're going to lay here with our forehead pressed against the back of our hands. We're gonna bring our legs so they're in this like diamond shaped position and our feet are touching one another. I'm just going to extend out and back up, out and up. Last one. Now let's hold it here and press into your pelvis so that and you're gonna feel it in your glutes so that our thighs are off of the mat. And lower and come out. Come up, press, lower and out. So our lower back is not doing the lifting. It's very important that we do not use our lower back. We're pressing into our pelvis and our glutes are the ones that are lifting our pelvis or our hips, not the lower back. 2 more. All right. We're almost done, I promise. Let's place our hands above our head, our faces resting, facing towards the mat. We're going to do similar to swimming, not the full swimming motion, but we're going to do something very similar to the last movement. We're going to take our right, yes that is right, our right thigh and bring it up off of the mat. I'm just gonna stay on that right side. Again, our lower back is not responsible for this movement. This is all about hip extension. So you might not have a very big movement, and that is okay as long as that back stays quiet. That's all I'm concerned with. Let's switch to the left side. You can look at me for a second, so notice how I'm not like hinging that lower back to do the movement. The neck and everything else stays quiet. We're focusing on the glute and we're not focusing on recruiting the glute. It's just what happens when we lift it, but we're focusing on the mobility of that hip when it extends. Let's do 3 more. Now let's alternate, so we're gonna go right, left, right, left, and if you want to increase the challenge, you can inhale, you can bring your arms and gaze up. Like my gaze right now is at the top of my mat, but my ribs are still connected. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves up. Just gonna do some last minute stretches. Let's go into a child's pose real quick since we're already here. Nice deep breath. Bring your hands up on your shoulders, elbows close to your head. Let's go ahead and get in a nice Z-set position. We're gonna take so for me, my right leg is in front, right hand is on the mat. We're going to push those hips forward, take that opposite hand up and over, really pushing those hips forward. So we're getting a nice stretch at the ribs and the hips. Go ahead and come forward. Let's switch sides. This is one of my favorite stretches. Go ahead and push those hips forward, up and over. Really feeling in those hips and ribs. forward again. And that concludes day 1. So congratulations, day 1 of 12 is finished. Hopefully your hips feel nice and good and released. You might feel them tomorrow, but luckily we will get a break from legs and hips. Tomorrow is deep abdominals. So luckily the nature of Pilates is pretty much always full body. You can have focuses, but it's hard to perform many of the exercises without utilizing a majority of the body. So even though the focus is abdominals, we are going to be using everything else, but not as much focused in the hips, so that will be very nice. If you already aren't following the Upchurch Pilates Instagram page, please do so. That is where I send all the updates and upcoming things and tips and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, congrats on finishing that, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 2 of our 12 days of Pilates for the deep abdominals.